Hi guys, this is video number 2 on Monday night, 13 February, and this is to help you with some of the readings that we did not go over carefully in class. So if you would, stop the video for a minute and go to homework that's due February 9th. Okay, so when we look at this dialogue, when you went over it, hopefully you felt that this was nothing really difficult. So it's an interview between Edgar and Senora Santos, and Senora Santos is the mother of a famous baseball player. So let's just look at a couple things that I want to point out that might help you. Number one, the person conducting the interview says, "Hoy tenemos el gusto de hablar con la madre." Now, we know el gusto es mío. Excuse me. So, gusto would be the pleasure. You know how a lot of times I say, es un placer? Well, gusto is also the same thing. Now, so you understand, el gusto de hablar, so it's the pleasure to speak with somebody. In the second line, you see estoy hablando. Well, that's something that some of you had last year, but not everybody. And it's called the present progressive, and it's a tense that lets you know something that is happening right now. So it's very specific. So when you use it, it's more specific than saying yo hablo. Estoy hablando means I am speaking right now. Okay? Next, I think that you can figure out the rutina diaria because that's very close to English, but someone's daily routine. Okay. The rest of it looks pretty good. I'm going to go down to Senora Santos where she says, "Oh, sí, se afeita." All right, so dos veces, remember, dos veces is the plural of una vez. Take the Z and change it to a CES. Okay. Gracias, Senora Santos y amigos. Ya regresamos. Now, we're going to return to our conversation. Okay? So, we'll return to it another time. Very good. All right, let's go down to the other readings. And the one reading that I'd like you to go to is the one that says Thursday, February 9th. And we started this in class. And obviously you have to do a little work on it so that you do well. So let's look at that, and I'm going to try to go through and anticipate problems that you might have or have had. Okay, I hope you got a chance to read this through, and or that you've had a chance to read through it before tonight. So this is not the first time you're dealing with all of this. But in the event that you have not done it, this certainly will be of some help. Okay, so we're looking at the reading, and I believe I'm still trying to get to it. So this is the reading on Mexico. And if you could just pop down to homework that is for February 9th, and I'm sorry, it's not in Mexico. So this is about soccer. So let's take a look at it. It looks pretty good. Doesn't look real terrible. All right. So besides learning the verbs and the vocabulary, I'm going to give you some which were cut off, which have a little star next to them. So the first one is in the second line where it says según. Según means according to. You can stop and then write that down if you need to. Okay? Next is una encuesta. An encuesta is a survey. Reciente would obviously help you. That's a cognate, and that means recent. All right, so when we use realizada, of course, that's a cognate. It could be realized, but realized in the sense of completed. And that means among university students. Excuse me 1 second. Very sorry. All of a sudden I'm getting the sniffles. So, you know what mucha gente, notice that gente, which means people, takes the third person singular. So if you ever have a choice for that, that's what you'd have to do. All right, mucha gente practica, third singular. All right. Now, cada 4 años se realiza. That's a fancy word for saying occurs. So it happens. So every 4 years you have the World Cup. Now, in the next part it says Argentina y Uruguay han ganado. So what they're doing is they're slipping in these forms, which we haven't had, into these readings. And you just have to be patient. You want to try to get as much as you can. But if you looked up han ganado, you would see that means they have won. So that's our present perfect. Han ganado este campeonato más de una vez. All right, aficionados are the fans. Siguen comes from the verb seguir. You might want to look up in Google under the conjugation of the verb seguir in Spanish, in case you want to use it more fully in your own presentation. Today someone said that he totally forgot about the presentation, and that made me a little sad because we'll never get them all in unless you're working on them. Okay. So, los aficionados siguen, they follow the game, and you can see the rest of it. And muchos otros lugares. So, wherever you go, World Cup is on. I'm sorry for that noise. I'm in a Starbucks. Whenever you're in another country, I happen to be in Germany and France during the World Cup. The bars are packed, they have big monitors, so everybody is enjoying the games with each other. Okay? All right. And that looks pretty good. Now, on the bottom, there's an expression, por supuesto. But, of course, comma. Por supuesto means of course. Again, you can pause and write that down. En los países de habla hispana. It could have been habla francesa, talking about countries where French is spoken. Okay? All right, de habla hispana. Okay. ¿Qué deporte sigue el fútbol en estos meses? Which one follows this? Well, it depends on the country and other factors. Okay. All right, so that's one reading. Now, if we go back, and I believe there's another reading, the one that I alluded to before on Mexico. And I just want to have a chance to go back to that and take a look at that with you. And just give me 1 second. The internet is not working as well as I would like. So we'll go back to that. And I hope you got a chance to enjoy this great afternoon today. It was fantastic. All right. So let's go down. And right now I'm in homework for Thursday, 9 February. And there's a reading on the right. If you just click on that, it'll come up. Mine is giving me difficulty because my keypad doesn't work. So remember, we started this. This is about the Moro. When we were looking at Kasi Kasi, I know we haven't been able to keep up with it. Kasi Kasi, at one point they say, let's visit San Juan, and they're in the area of El Moro, which is a very famous fortress. And remember, we talked about the difference between a fortress and a castle, etc. So this is about that. I think we got to El Museo de Pablo Casals, and remember, I played some Pablo Casals for you. And on the bottom of that, you'll see in the interior, hay muchos objetos personales, like his cello. Remember, I told you he was a cello player. His piano, and a great quantity of manuscripts and photos. Now, notice that the word cantidad is feminine. Usually words that end with DAD are feminine. And instead of using the feminine adjective grande, we shorten that before and noun. So, una gran cantidad, a great quantity. Now remember, the word grande before a noun means great. So if you want to say, El señor Marcy es un gran hombre, un gran profesor. Okay? All right, good. So the rest of that should be good. La Iglesia de San Jose. Now I'm looking through that, and it doesn't look like there's anything that's really difficult. The only thing that might be difficult is Gothic architecture. Now remember, Gothic architecture, I don't know if you've ever studied this in any art history classes, but Gothic architecture was started in France and spread throughout. Now this was during the Middle Ages. So Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is an example of Gothic architecture. And obviously, an architectural style changes over the 1 or 2 centuries because you just can't build a cathedral. Some of them were very, very high. So Gothic is a form of architecture, and you could Google, if you are interested, in samples of Gothic cathedrals. And you'll see a lot in France. And then if you want to specifically look at Gothic Spanish architecture, you could do that. Okay? Now, the one that they're alluding to here is the 16th century. When I'm talking about the beginnings of it, we're talking about 12th and 13th centuries, where the castles, the cathedral started going up, and then people would visit and see the ideas, and little by little, it would spread, just like the Renaissance starting in Florence and then visiting different countries, really getting to different countries in different centuries. So the Spanish Renaissance takes place in the middle of the 16th century and goes to the middle of the 17th century. Remember that 16th century Spain is really critical. Spain is pretty much on top of the world, and it is the champion of the Catholic faith. And what you also have in the 16th century is Shakespeare, Henry VIII, the wars of religion, the Huguenots in France. So for those of you that are interested in these topics, it's really important to know, and also the founding of the Jesuits. Okay? So good luck on all this. I hope this has helped you a little bit. And please follow up with an email if you have any other questions. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night, and buena suerte.